Not the same old track again. Maybe it needs a little makeover. You're going down, Yoshi. Yoshi. Oh no. Do you talk to Mario with that mouth? Let's do this. Oh no. Woohoo! I win! Today we're going to be finding out, is Mario Kart World worth the price? Oh my gosh! Hello racers, you and I both know that Mario Kart World has just released, and I got the Mario Kart World Nintendo Switch 2 bundle. So I didn't really plan on making a video about this, but you wonderful YouTube members said they wanted to see this, so that's why we're going to be talking about all of the Mario Karts to leading up to Mario Kart World to decide if that expensive freaking, what was it? $80 is worth buying on its own. Now, I lucked out by getting the Mario Kart bundle with my Nintendo Switch 2, so technically this was only about $50. But if you don't end up getting this Nintendo Switch 2 bundle, Mario Kart World is a whopping $70-something. Not including tax. Over the last couple of weeks since the Nintendo Switch 2 launched, I've gotten a chance to play this with friends, with myself, just exploring all the things about Mario Kart World, and I just want to see if it's really worth the price when you compare it to some of the other Mario Kart games, because you could play those ones, and I guarantee you they're not near almost $80. Am I right or am I right? Now, if you don't know me, my name is Nina Gabriella. I honestly want someone to count how many times I've worn a Princess Peach variation in video, because at this point, it's getting a little ridiculous. I'll get a Daisy cosplay at some point, guys. Just, bear with me. But if you've never been to this channel, hello, welcome, it's nice to see you. And if you've been here, it's so good to see you again. Hello. If you like today's video, I'd love it if you'd hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see more behind the scenes fun, be sure to check out our Patreon, our YouTube members, and our Discord for some extra behind the scenes fun. I do fun little challenges in our Discord server every single week, and I like to give out prizes to give back to the channel. So I love it if you participate and if you want to hang out more afterwards. Let's get into it. Alright guys, we're starting with Super Mario Kart for the SNES that came out in 1992. Now just letting you know before we get started, we are not talking about Mario Kart Home Circuit. I don't own it, nor do I plan on owning it. Just didn't buy it, don't think it's really necessary for this review. And I know there are some like arcade versions of Mario Kart. We're not talking about those either, just the ones for our consoles. And last disclaimer, if I sound a little rough, it's just because I've been sick for a good minute. So just bear with me. I should be able to get through this fine though. So this right here is the original Super Mario Kart. These Mode 7 graphics blew people's minds in 92. It introduced drifting, it had item boxes, battle mode, and while it's pretty slow in today's standards, this really set the foundation for Mario Kart. Now, if you're wondering how I'm able to play all of this, I'm able to play all of these games using my Nintendo Switch on the Nintendo Online membership. You should be able to play these too if you have the online membership. That's how I'm able to play all of the old games, but I will say, playing this on the Nintendo Switch too, it was pretty clunky. Some of these did better than others. As you can see, I'm drifting like all over the place. I can barely move the controls. I feel like back in the day, this was probably fine, but it's going a little slow, it's acting clunky. Yeah, I was really struggling. I will say though, being that this was the first Mario Kart, this is to be a little bit expected, but I did have a good time playing this one. It set the foundation of what we know as our Mario Karts today. And I think many of you guys will like it, or at least appreciate it for what it is. So if you do play this, just know I had some issues with it. I don't know if you will as well, but you know, it is what it is. Now, obviously, it's really hard to compare something like this to Mario Kart World. This is the first ever game. So with that being said, you can see where the foundation comes from. They introduce, some of those first karts or in those first tracks we had ever seen. Rainbow Road got introduced. We have some of our iconic tracks that we see in some of the newer games. So it's good to just see where this had first started and the build up to get to something like Mario Kart World. Now, the SNES was a little bit before my time, so I did not grow up playing this game, but I'm sure for some people this is super nostalgic, and this was the game you probably loved the most because of that. Now, I'm not going to give this game a rating just because I feel like it would be weird to rate these games compared to Mario Kart World, but I will say, in terms of paying $80 for this, probably not this game. On to the next! Mario Kart! Now, this is probably one that many of you remember, and I do as well because this was one of my favorites. This right here is Mario Kart 64, originally made on the Nintendo 64, and originally released in 1996. This was Mario's first step into the 3D world, where things were still a little clunky. There was a lot of weird kind of funny AI with the chaotic multiplayer, but it had some really good tracks like DK's Jungle Parkway and, that Rainbow Road that we all probably remember. But this game had a lot of awesome things to it. Not only was it the first 3D entry, but it had the 4-player split screen, it had that awesome power slide, so it had a lot of charm to it. Now, again, I don't think I would pay some ridiculous amount of money, like $80 for this game, but I could see myself paying at least, $40 for this game, just because I had grown up with a lot of memories with it. And people love nostalgia these days. If you had seen my short talking about Tomodachi Life, for some reason that game costs more than probably the games that we're talking about today. So the game still has its clunky elements, but I think all of that just adds the nostalgia and fun that people used to have with it. It may not be Mario Kart World, but I will say if you're looking for something that you can still get that fun kind of nostalgic elements to an older game, I would recommend this one. This one is a fun one for me. Well, I guess I forgot to record the title screen, but this right here is Mario Kart Super Circuit for the Game Boy Advance that came out in 2001. Now, this game is basically just a portable version of the SNES version. It has all the same karts and tracks, but people really liked it because of its simplicity. It was just a racing game on the go, and that's what people wanted. At this point, a lot of things are starting to become more portable. People want to bring their game consoles with them, so this game really just kind of fit all of that in one little pocket with your Game Boy Advance. Now, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really play this game growing up either. I think I really had been a DS kind of girl when we get to that one. I will say this game played awful for me on my Nintendo Switch. Like, I can't even say that it was slightly good. Literally, look at this. Look at how terrible I'm driving. I think this was probably the worst thing I played on Nintendo Switch 2. I don't know if it was just my game or if I was just doing stuff weird, but I think it's just because the Nintendo Switch 2 controllers, like when you're using the Joy-Cons, it just is a little bit too much, because when you think about it, you're using that little, what is it, not the D-pad. Yeah, I think it is the D-pad. Using those up and down arrows, typically, if you're using the Game Boy Advance. So I think using my circle Joy-Con was just a bit too much for me. So I can't really say I would pay really like any money for this just because of how awfully it played for me, but probably for the people who grew up with this, they probably enjoyed it a lot more than I did. This just, yeah, it wasn't doing it for me, guys. In 2025 today, this is not hitting. I would much rather just wait till the 3DS one comes out or the DS one comes out. This wasn't doing it. I'm sorry. This is not hitting for me. But I will say, but for back in those times, this was probably amazing. Being able to just take a game on the go is just purely amazing. That's the whole reason why we love our portable consoles to this day. So if this was probably one of the first systems that is portable and being able to play something like this on it, it's revolutionary. It's wonderful, and I will give this game credit for what it did for its time. So let's move on. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk about this game, Mario Kart Double Dash for the GameCube. This came out in 2003. Oh my gosh, why was this game so amazing? And why don't they do something like this now? I think this game is truly awesome. Now, moving from this point forward, the rest of these games that we're talking about, you cannot get with the Nintendo Online membership, including the one that we're talking about. So you will actually have to purchase these ones if you actually want to play any of these. Now, in terms of price for how much I've seen this game run, it's literally anywhere from as little as $15 to as big as $1,000 for this game. And I guess it's because of the nostalgia or just because of how awesome this game is. I guess I can kind of understand it, but at the same time, I can't. I would never pay $1,000 to play one video game. Now, why is this game so cool? Because you get to pair up characters to ride together to race. It is so awesome. Literally, you can pick your favorite duo and you are racing on the cart together. And I think it's so cute, that starting animation where the character in the back kind of pushes the cart along. But you guys are tag teaming it. It has some cool co-op sort of things you can do in here as well. But it is so fun because literally you pick your favorite pair of characters and they're in one cart and you can switch between the both of them. Or if you're doing co-op, one plays the other, but it is so awesome. I just think it's cute because you never see this, or you haven't seen this. This is the only game that they have ever done this in, and I don't know why they don't bring it back. I was so excited to play this when I was getting ready to work on this video, just because this is so fun. And like, honestly, for animation wise, it's honestly looks really good. Like, if you are comparing this to some of the 3D games that we see nowadays, I honestly wouldn't think twice about maybe having to pay a little more for something like this. I just feel like I'm doing more than what I had gotten in the previous games we had talked about, and it shows. Not only do the visualizations look better, but the graphics itself look awesome, and I just think the gameplay is different. It's funky, it's weird, and it's crazy that they didn't bring this back in the future Mario games. So I just think this game's awesome. Maybe I'm biased, but I gotta say, if you don't agree that at least this is really interesting to look at, then let me say you are watching the wrong video. I just think it is such a fun, awesome element. I don't know if I could say I would pay $80 for this game, but I have been seeing that kind of maybe 50, 60 price tag, and I think not only would I pay maybe that amount for it, but the nostalgic elements of just having had grown up loving this, I can see myself paying a little more for it. Now, if we're talking about a game I had played non-stop when I was little, was Mario Kart DS. This game came out in 2005 and introduced its first kind of realm of Wi-Fi races. And by Wi-Fi races, I really mean you were able to play with people on the internet. This was the first game, or the first Mario Kart game, where you were able to do that. So it introduced the online multiplayer, and it had a mission mode, which you could do, a little bit more of some side quests in this game. I honestly just love this game because not only did I love my DS growing up, but it was a nice racing game that I could play with my friends, even if they weren't super close by on my DS. So it was nice. I think a lot of people grew up just loving it because it's a racing game. But it also introduced a lot more customization things. It had a lot more characters in it. I remember the starting screen music like it's the back of my hand. Like, to me, it's like singing the Wii music. Like, you feel like everybody knows it, and then when you start singing it, you kind of look around and like, oh, are you guys also singing it? That's how I felt about Mario Kart DS. The music would turn on and I'd be like, yes, are you guys getting this? Like, that's how I felt about it. I don't know if that's just because I played it so much or if it's just because I'm weird. Either way, loved it. I am a music person when it comes to video games, and this is just one of the ones that I just remember so thoroughly. But this game was also nice because it also had that dual screen element, so you can look where you're going on the bottom screen while also being able to see your character move on the top screen. So of course, a lot of people love that. One thing that was also unique about Mario Kart DS is it had this thing called mission mode, where you would get a kind of like weird just mission you were supposed to do, like a task you would do outside of just playing Mario Kart. And I actually really like this because it adds an extra element besides just racing to the game, where you feel like you were getting a lot more out of it just than your regular just kind of racing around. To me, it kind of compares to what Mario Kart World is now having. Like Mario Kart World, which I'll talk more about later, has this kind of like missions you can do as you are in this free roam element of Mario Kart World, which we're going to talk about more in a little bit here. So I kind of like that, and I'm glad they kind of taken a little bit of those elements and they are being seen in different areas of the game. But we don't see mission mode come back again in its true form like it did in Mario Kart DS. You can only really play it in this one, but I will say it was pretty fun. I liked the little mission mode, and I think it should make a comeback. I also enjoyed the idea of being able to customize the front of my kart with my own little drawing. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like playing this game now in today's era, I feel like I've grown to find myself more frustrated with Mario Kart DS than I am finding this love and nostalgia for it. I don't know if that's just because the game is a little older, so I'm just noticing more things about it that I'm like, oh darn, like why did it do that? Or maybe it's just because Princess Peach, who I love playing as a character, is just so freaking slow in this game for whatever reason. I don't know why they made her the slowest character known to man, but I don't know. Mario Kart DS, I loved it when I was younger. Being a little older now, I feel like some of the games that are out now are a bit better. I honestly would take Mario Kart Double Dash over Mario Kart DS. Don't know how others feel about that, but just my personal opinion, don't think I would pay any more than like $20 for Mario Kart DS now. Now, Mario Kart Wii is a different story. I always loved Mario Kart Wii. This came out for the Wii in 2008. Now, this game was pretty iconic because it introduced the Wii wheel, which, you know, is all about the motion control. So it was actually like you were steering the kart. And this game also had motorcycles in it as well. So your first time seeing the motorcycle, or I guess the racing bikes, on top of also being able to use your motion controls to drive your cars. So it was a casual, friendly, but had a lot more deeper mechanics in this game. It was a lot cleaner in visual wise compared to some of the games we had talked about, but of course, you know, this game is a bit newer. I do think this game was really fun. Not only did it allow 12 players, up to 12 players online, but I just think not only did it have some really fun modes to it, I just think this game not only looked better, but it was just fun for the Wii wheel. Like, I think if it weren't for that Wii wheel, I probably wouldn't have as much of a high score with this. But I think, you know, as a kid or like when I was younger, being able to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm driving the car, I loved doing that. But otherwise, I don't have really too much to say about it. I think I just loved it being able to do kind of like the split screen with my family because, you know, playing something like Mario Kart with your whole family, which, you know, Nintendo at the time was going huge on the Wii, I think was just a really fun moment for me and my family, especially because, you know, playing Mario Kart where everybody has a little Wii wheel, like we're driving the cars around, which is kind of fun. I think it brings me back some really good memories, and I'm sure it does for some of you as well. I really like Mario Kart Wii. I wouldn't say it was like maybe my favorite Mario Kart or anything, but I do think I loved it just because I grew up having some really good memories with me and my family playing this. So I think it lives up to it. I'm gonna be honest, probably in the $30 range in terms of how much I would pay for it now. I feel like comparing this to some of the other games, this is one of the games where I don't think I would really go back to play on my own. And I think that's just because it's on the Wii. Like, I don't think I would hook up my whole Wii just to play this game. I would probably play like Wii Sports before I would play Mario Kart, and that's just me personally, or I'd play Just Dance, you know? I think it's a good game, but I feel like this is a game I would only play in really like a group setting. And I think that makes sense because the Wii is kind of like your family console or with your friends, kind of similar to like a Nintendo Switch vibe extent, maybe not really, but I think otherwise, I don't think I would really pick this game up to play by myself. Okay, Mario Kart 7. Now we're talking. This game right here came out for the 3DS in 2011, and I honestly loved this game. The kart customization in this game was so much better. Not only did they stop doing my girl dirty, well, okay, you know, I had to just pick a good kart for her is really what I'm saying for Princess Peach, but they also introduced gliders in this game, which I really loved being able to glide around the map. You can also go underwater in this game. They introduced the underwater racing, which was cool. The 3D visuals were awesome if you were playing this on your 3DS rather than the 2DS. Ugh. I love my 2DS XL. Okay, I'm just saying the 2DS shape was just always weird to me. Now, you can definitely see that this was like the first game that was really on its way into the modern Mario Kart world. This one introduced a lot of new features that you now see within the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch, and definitely kind of shows you where Mario Kart World came from. Mario Kart 7 was honestly wasn't my favorite. I think actually this might have been my favorite game other than Double Dash. This game right here is definitely super modern, very clean. It might not look visually as appealing as seeing something on the Nintendo Switch, but honestly I kind of like it. Maybe that grainy feeling gives me like a little bit of nostalgia on top of being able to just see how this direction was going and where it was going. And to be honest, I'm glad they kept a lot of these elements, which we are going to be talking about for the even more modern day Mario Kart. I think what we just needed in this game was a bigger screen, you know? Like, I think for some people, like at least for me, playing this on my 3DS, sometimes it would kind of hurt my eyes with the whole glider situation. I was not playing this on my 3DS at the time of recording this. I was playing this on my 2DS XL, so I will say I didn't really deal with that, but I will say back in the day on my 3DS, this the glider feature kind of was a lot for the time, but I think it was also fun. I think because it was in 3D and you could see the glider kind of just shifting out, it was really cool. I just think this game shows what Mario Kart could be, and it's really awesome seeing that in the now games we have to this day. But let's go back. The price tag though, this game originally retailed for about $40, and to be honest, I think that is fair. I think $40, even $45, I think is perfect for this. Honestly, not gonna say it right now, but just because of these modern elements in this game, I think $45 compared to the $80, I think most people would be pretty happy with just playing Mario Kart 7. And I'm just saying that if you haven't figured out if you're gonna get a Nintendo Switch 2 or get yourself a 3DS, I am always one for saying get a 3DS because I'm sure this game's probably a lot cheaper now than it was back then. But to end it off, Mario Kart 7, loved this game, would go back. I played it for a while, even just recording this video for you guys, and I totally would pick it back up again. Game we're talking about is Mario Kart 8. Now this game originally released for the Wii U in 2014, but I do not own a Wii U, so we're actually talking about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which came out for the Switch in 2017. The big difference is mainly just a couple DLCs are included and they improve some of the battle modes, but overall they're generally the same game. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe definitely did have some improvements in features. Of course, the 60 frames per second is definitely beloved, and it has a lot of beautiful little elements into it. I just think the game played visually, especially playing with friends with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I personally loved it, but this is also the latest game outside of Mario Kart World, so this is the last game that came out before it. So we can talk about a lot of comparisons between this game and Mario Kart World, which we'll be talking about in just a moment. Now, I think this is a great game to really compare World to because this game retailed originally for $60, and then it later came out with a Boost Course Pass DLC, which was an extra $25. Now, I'm going to say that lightly because if you have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, then it would come at no additional cost. Like, I have the online membership, but of course you have to pay for that monthly, and that's just to play online games. So for most people, this was probably free, but if you don't pay for Nintendo Switch Online, you're paying a good $85 to play Mario Kart. Which to me is why I feel Nintendo feels justified with their pricing for Nintendo Switch World. Now, I'm not saying I think it's justified. I think that is the reason why Nintendo feels their price is justified for for Mario Kart World, because they're saying technically you already paid about $80 the first time. Now, might I add, we're not talking about the regular Nintendo Switch Online membership. We are talking about the Nintendo Switch Online membership expansion pass, which is an extra amount of money on top of the Nintendo Switch Online membership. So I think Nintendo is just like, you already pay extra money for extra stuff, so now you're gonna pay even more money on top of what you already pay. Like, it's just straight ridiculous, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I do really like this game. I do think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a great addition, but I will say if you already own Mario Kart 8, to be honest, whatever that was, I know it wasn't no $60. I think many people would be happy paying $30 or $40 and getting basically the same thing. Yes, the frame rate looks amazing. Yes, it's so smooth, but $85? No. Now, of course, the DLC and the expansion, all that stuff is extra. Like, you don't necessarily need those to have a good time from playing the game. But I will say for some people who want a full game, nobody wants to buy a game and it's half done. You know, like, if we talk about my Animal Crossing New Leaf video, if you didn't see that, where I compared it to New Horizons, I felt like the game came out half-baked. You were still waiting for DLCs and things to come out. And I think speaking as like an average consumer, nobody wants to feel like they paid for a full price but got a half-done thing. And I'm not saying that Mario Kart 8 is half done, you know, it's already a full game, but I mean, for them to come out with extra content on top of what was already made, it kind of sucks for people, because then you're like, well, now I gotta spend even more money. And I guess to some people that makes sense. It's like, if you already loved what you had, of course you want more things for it. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, I paid almost $100 for a game, and to me, it just doesn't feel right. Sorry, that's enough of my mini rant, but just to talk a little bit about Mario Kart 8 here, this was a really awesome game. Still is, of course. It introduced the anti-gravity mode, so kind of like when you're racing, your car will kind of like do its thing and fly a little bit. It's super weird. I guess it's a cool feature. Along with bringing back some of our favorite classic tracks from older games, along with that DLC, bringing back even more classics and fun from some older games. So it is really nice to see some of those things. There's a lot more customization in this game with a bunch of different characters. I personally loved how beautiful it looked, on top of being able to play as some of our other favorite characters from other video games in here, being able to play as the Animal Crossing villager, along with a couple Mario characters that we don't always see. The anti-gravity mode gives you kind of some more fun features with drifting and going to these kind of up in the air type of courses. A lot of fun, and there's a lot of charm in this, especially playing with friends. Now, before I say too much about it, let's go ahead and compare this game a little bit to Mario Kart World before we have a final verdict. Okay, today we are talking mainly about Mario Kart World. Now, this is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive game, retailed for about $70. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. $80, actually. So we're really trying to figure out if this game is worth the price. Now, this game just released in June of 2025 and is known because it has a lot of new features that are supposed to really make up what that expensive price tag is. Like, first of all, this game has an open world feature which allows you to kind of just drive freely, which I found to be pretty appealing, on top of the fact you can play with up to 24 racers instead of 12 like we were used to in some of our previous games, on top of the fact that this game also has some cool dynamic features like the weather changes from day to night. It has some new modes like the Knockout Tour, which allows you to do a long distance kind of Mario Kart run where you're doing up to 6 laps that are ongoing without any stopping. It also has the game chat voice feature, and it kind of merges some of the classic tracks and puts these new elements on what we are not really used to. Now, I know I didn't put any footage of this in this video, but this actually might have all span from the game Mario Kart Tour. This was a mobile game where it is all about Mario and his friends touring around the different cities and all different parts of the world, and that mobile game came out in 2019. So you can kind of see that was like the preview before Mario Kart Tour, Mario Kart World would come out. So you can kind of see where it had come from if you ever played Mario Kart Tour. I remember when that first came out and that app was really big at the beginning of 2019. Now, if anyone had played that was more of like a gacha type of game. It had a lot of microtransactions. It was a fun concept, but this definitely takes the cake in terms of how much better this is. So let's talk about Mario Kart World though. Here's just kind of a side-by-side comparison of Mario Kart World with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now you can definitely see that frame rate being pushed with both of these games, but you can see the visualizations are very bright in Mario Kart World. It has a little bit more of like a cartoonish style versus in the Mario Kart 8 it looks a little bit more on like a realism type of thing, but other than that you can kind of see that they're very similar. This is like the Moo track of both of these courses, whereas in Mario Kart World they change it up a little bit to make it seem more worldly, like you are driving throughout the map of the game. So there are like changes and extensions to the map as you are going on your little tour, depending on which way you're going. So there are some changes and differences, but otherwise, you know, I do like to see the changes of the stylistic choices. And Mario Kart World can be played in 4K. So if you're a big person who likes graphics, or you have a 4K monitor or a TV even, you can definitely push the graphics to its limits. Now, like I said earlier, this game does have a lot of cool stuff with it. You are able to do the game chat thing, which I haven't actually tried out myself, but multiplayer-wise, it is a lot of fun. You can also do the free roam, which I had mentioned briefly. You'll see a little bit of footage of that in a second. But the free roam allows you to explore the Mario Kart World map just freely. Like, there is no racing element to it. You are just driving around. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but I really actually enjoyed it. The way I have been describing this to my friends is it feels like you're playing Grand Theft Auto, but without the Grand Theft. And if you played Grand Theft Auto when you were younger, that's all the game was to you. You were just playing auto. And to be honest, it's actually quite relaxing. I felt like I was just kind of doing like an open world exploring type of thing. Now there are the missions, like how I had brought in up in the previous game of Mario Kart DS, I think that's what it was, where I talked about these little missions. The missions are being brought back. You have little side quest missions in that free roam option, which is kind of nice because it gives you a little bit of something to do while you are exploring the world. But of course, all of that is more optional. You are able to explore the world however you choose by just driving around. Now, as of right now, I believe there are 48 different places you can go to on the map, but that is also going to come with updates as this game is brand new at the time of this being recorded and played for you guys. But of course, this game, like I said, Animal Crossing New Horizons, is still in a mode of where it's getting live DLCs and updates and things like that. So all things are coming to change in the near future. Now, here's the thing. I'm not hating on this. I really do like Mario Kart World. I think it is fun. It is visually appealing. I played it with friends. I will say the one thing I don't like, though, is that in the Mario Kart World, like the free roaming that we're looking at right now, you cannot play it locally. I really wish I was able to locally play with my friends sitting on the couch, just driving around. You aren't able to do that. You are only able to do that in online mode. So that means all parties have to have the game to really enjoy the local mode, which I honestly don't like. Like, personally, if I'm sitting next to someone, I would prefer to be able to play this game with them. I don't want us all to have to buy a copy of Mario Kart World to enjoy the free roam option. But as I was saying with my original point, I don't dislike any of these features. I think it all adds some great elements to Mario Kart World. But I'm going to say I don't know how many people are obsessed with Mario Kart to the point where you might need a lot of these things. Now, I think if this was just originally what Mario Kart had to have been, and these elements had already been included in older games, I can see that really adding to this. But I believe that this being like this quote-unquote new thing, I don't really see that being worth those extra, prices. And knowing Nintendo the way they are, I'm sure while there are going to be some free DLCs, I can see there being a lot of paid ones as well. Now, if you're a person who has watched some of my previous videos, I usually always like to think about the price point of a game, determining how many hours I can get out of it. Now, this is a game where I feel like you can get a lot of hours out of this, but at what cost? Driving around aimlessly with not really a point of the game, like with there not being a story mode or me learning or getting anything out of it. I do like how they have added more customization of the characters. The characters get these cute little outfits, like when you pick up those little gas station side things, your character can change outfits. That's very cute, that's appealing. But does it really add anything more to the game? Yes and maybe no. Personally speaking, when I want to spend maybe this amount of money on a game, I'm expecting maybe a story or some kind of progression or something that makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something. And I'm not saying you don't get that from Mario Kart. When you win a race, you accomplish something, you know, you progress more, you unlock new things. People like that. That's why they keep playing certain games. But I don't know how long someone can sit and actively play Mario Kart before picking up a game that has more substance in it. But once we see this pattern from games, it's probably going to happen to other games. And it's unfortunate because I hate to see games like this starting at price points of $80. And I, like many others, can talk on and on about it, but it looks like this is probably going to be a common trend, and it's very unfortunate. I'm excited to see the direction of where Mario Kart World goes, because I do think this is a very beautiful game. I think this was really fun playing with friends, and even now I'm having fun with just playing free roam, just driving around with some maybe TV going on in the background. Just gives me something to do with my hands. But if I want a cozy game, I could just play a cozy game. Sometimes I want a game that has a little more depth in it, and I just don't feel like paying these prices for games that don't have depth. And this is just my opinion. Others may feel differently. And if you're a huge Mario Kart fan, I think you are really going to like the changes and the updates that they've made to the game. To be honest, I do kind of miss the traditional courses though. I do hope they do some DLCs where we can bring those back in better forms. I do like the style of the tours where you're doing these long sort of races throughout the country. It's very cool. But like I had previously said, still am unsure about if those little changes, in my opinion little, are worth the price. Now, if I have to compare this on whether I'd spend $60 playing Mario Kart 8 versus playing $80 to play Mario Kart World, I hate to say it, but to be honest, I think I might pick Mario Kart World. Now, I do think it is $20 more expensive, but when I think about all the other extra prices that are included that you are going to have to pay to get the full effect of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I honestly would just rather pay, I guess, $80 to get this, and I got the whole world and the free roam features, on top of it being able to get better graphics and play in 4K. When you think about it that way, I guess I'd rather spend this amount. But honestly, I wouldn't really want to pay either of the prices if we're really looking at it that way. To be honest, this really is the Mario Kart game that nobody asked for. I think that this is a great addition to the Nintendo series. But personally speaking, when they had originally launched this game, I don't think many people were expecting this. And nobody was expecting it for the price that it was. Not saying we dislike it, not saying we don't wish it wasn't here, but I don't think anyone really asked for it at the price point that it is, and I still don't really know if it's justified. Yeah, guys, so I don't know. Honestly, $70-something seems pretty steep for a Mario Kart World game that's pretty similar to the rest. Yeah, it has some new features and it looks really beautiful, but people are really playing for the gameplay. I can tell you some of my favorite old games that I'd pay $80 for as opposed to maybe a racing game. But that's just my opinion. It's not all about me. What do you guys think? Would you pay this price for Mario Kart World? Did you already pay this price for Mario Kart World? Or did you end up lucking out and getting the Nintendo Switch 2 bundle coming with Mario Kart World? Anyways, if you liked today's video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks. Bye-bye. No, but like, Yoshi's still my fave. I'ma keep on dancing in the pink Yoshi Club. I'ma keep on dancing at the pink Yoshi Club. Pink Yoshi Club. Get me for copyright. Nina out.